Right, women traveling. Now, I'd been asked a question about women traveling, and is this without a mahram. A mahram is a male guardian to whom that is related to the woman in such a way that they could not marry amongst themselves. And so, brother, son, father, uncle, nephew, these kind of things, for example, grandfather, stuff like this, a mahram. And I've dealt with the question, which is also a separate question now on YouTube, that if a woman wet nurses a man, does he become her mahram? Which is absurd. Of course he doesn't. Right? So if she kind of breastfed him, or he drank from her actual milk, does he become? And some people have been pushing this in saying that's a valid thing in Islam. I've explained, and I've got that video as a separate, that's absurd and not true. Right. Okay, so as to women traveling, now we've got to understand, first of all, I'm going to explain that yes, of course, a woman can travel in Islam without a guardian. I'm explaining that first of all. So I'm going to give you the ruling first of all. Of course she can. And this ruling was simply about safety. So once I've highlighted that ruling, I'm going to go through the breakdown and the detail of this topic with you, okay? Now, so there are this issue arises from certain hadith that are transmitted from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him, mainly from four companions, okay, from Ibn Umar, from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, from Abu Hurairah, and from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhum. So these four companions are the main transmitters of this particular hadith about a woman, if she travels, she needs a guardian. Now, so that's something I want us to understand, that this is so let's take a look at these narrations first of all. All of these narrations seem to vary in key detail, okay, in how far can a woman travel without a guardian. Because did they mean by this that she can't even step outside her house? Generally speaking, no scholars understood that. Generally speaking, maybe some nutcases, some control freaks may have had such an understanding, but generally speaking, nobody in Islam understood things like that. That what they meant was a journey, okay? Even if it was a short journey or a long journey, this is what they didn't mean things like her going into the streets, or into that street or this street or the markets or things like this, because everybody has always been doing that, okay? Now, we have a hadith from Ibn Umar. This hadith is transmitted where in the Musnad of Ahmad, in Abu Dawood, in Sahih al-Bukhari, in Sahih Muslim, and in there's two narrations in Sahih Muslim. Ibn Umar says that it is impermissible, he heard from the Prophet, for a woman to travel إِلَّا مَعَ ذِي مَحْرَمٍ مِنْهَا, except with a mahram, for ثَلَاثَةَ أَيَّامٍ. The journey masirata ثَلَاثَةَ أَيَّامٍ, a journey that would take 3 whole days. In one narration in Sahih Muslim, he says masirata ثَلَاثَ اللَّيَالٍ, that the journey of 3 nights. Right, so this is Ibn Umar's narration. It comes in these books, in Bukhari, in Muslim. There's 2 narrations, in Abu Dawood, in the Musnad of Ahmad. Then we have the narration of Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah's narration is interesting. He seems to mention it's in Bukhari, it's in Sahih Muslim, it's in Tirmidhi, it's in Abu Dawood. Abu Hurairah says he heard the Prophet say, Masirata yawmin wa layla, that the journey of 1 single day and a single night. Laysa ma'aha hurma. He uses the word hurma, which is like sanctity and used often for a guardian who there is a sanctity that you can't marry because of. Now, in his narration in Sahih Muslim, it says Masirat al-Layla, the journey of one night. Otherwise it says in Sahih al-Bukhari, Masirat al-Yawmin wa Layla, of one day and one night. This is the kind of transmission we're getting from Abu Hurairah, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari, it's in Sahih Muslim, it's in Ibn Majah, it's in Tirmidhi, okay? So these kind of, you've got these four, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. So these four. Then Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, he has a transmission which is interesting. It's in Sahih Muslim. He says, I heard the Prophet say that she cannot undertake safaran, a journey, which yakunu thalathata ayyamin fasa'idan, that is of 3 whole days and more, fasa'idan, and above 3 whole days. In his narration, and that's also in Tirmidhi, fasa'idan, there's a narration in Abu Dawood that says safaran fawqa thalathati ayyam fasa'idan. In Abu Dawood, his narration of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri says, I heard the Prophet say, a journey which is more than 3 whole days and counting. So, and in his narration in the Musnad of Ahmad, he says fawqa thalatha layal, a journey that is more than 3 whole nights. And then he has one in Sahih Muslim which just says the word 3, thalathan. And then it's interesting, he has another one in Muslim and Bukhari that says yawmayni min ad-dahar, 2 whole days of time. Now, so this narration of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, which is in Tirmidhi, Muslim, it's in Abu Dawood and Musnad of Ahmad, all seem to say more than 3 whole days and counting. His narrations in Muslim and Bukhari say, other narrations in Muslim and Bukhari say only 2 days, and then his other narration in Muslim says 3 days. Then the 4th companion, which is Ibn Abbas. Now he has a narration that mentions no time span. It only says that I heard the Prophet say, La tusafir, that a woman should not travel who believes in Allah and His Messenger, illa ma'adhi mahram, except with accompanied by a guardian. Now, this is in Bukhari, it's in Muslim, and it's in the Musnad of Ahmad. This, from Ibn Abbas, it all appears to be one narration. Why? Because at the end of it, he says the person then asks the Prophet, oh, but my wife has gone to Hajj. In some he says she's gone, in some he says she's intending to go. And I have been enlisted for battle. So he's about to go on a battle. Now he says to the Prophet that she's already gone and I've been enlisted. And the Prophet says, go do the Hajj with her. Join her upon the Hajj. He says that in all of those narrations in Bukhari, Muslim and Ahmad. So it shows that this is one man asking. And this seems to be one incident with Ibn Abbas. So these are the 4 main companions upon which this whole understanding rests and is built, okay, of a woman needing a companion. Now, like I mentioned, most scholars all accepted this was not talking about a woman just leaving the house and going about the town. This was talking about a journey. Most scholars in the past said that a woman cannot go on a journey unless she's accompanied. This was their understanding based on these kind of hadith. Then came the issue of, oh, what about the Hajj? If a woman has to go do the Hajj? Because Allah is telling in the Quran that He is stating, He's instructing, وَمَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْكُمْ, that, you know, who وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ, that people have an obligation to go perform the Hajj. So here there is a huge disagreement amongst scholars on who can perform the Hajj. A woman, let's say a woman doesn't have a guardian to go with her. Okay. Now, according to certain scholars, she can still go. That is not a problem. Okay. Now, amongst them were people like from the Salaf, Ibn Sirin, Ibn Jubayr, Sa'id ibn Jubayr. These are like Ibn Jubayr, student of Ibn Abbas. The Shafi'iyya, the Shafi'i madhab said she can go in a group of women. Imam Malik had a very open understanding. He said she can just go with anybody. As long as she's accompanied, she can go, whether they are men or not. But as long as they use the term rufqatun ma'muna, a safe company. And Ibn Battal, the great Maliki legend from Muslim Spain, uses the reference. He says the majority of the scholars are upon this. Whether they are or not, one can argue, but this is what Ibn Battal, from Muslim Spain, over 1,000 years ago, in his commentary on Sahih al-Bukhari, writes, in his understanding, the majority of the scholars are upon that. And he says there's a hadith from Ibn Umar that he would do Hajj with women who were his neighbors. They would come with him when he would go to do Hajj. So that's their kind of understanding. Okay. Now, then, in this, the Hanafi madhab, Imam Abu Hanifa said that if the journey was more than 3 days, like it was a lengthy journey, the Hajj, then she can only go if she has a Mahram. And the Hanbalis seem to go alongside with that, as does Ishaq ibn Rahaway as well, in his madhab, and I believe Abu Thawr as well. So these are some of the classical understandings, okay? Now, then came another problem. You see, what's interesting is this problem came that, oh, well, what if a woman was kidnapped and she's... You know, it just goes to show how some of the ulama thought. They say like, oh, what if she's kidnapped and enslaved and taken far away? Let's say she's taken away 100 miles away. So she's, or let's say she becomes a Muslim in a non-Muslim land that is hostile to her. So how can she, but if she runs away, let's say she has an opportunity to run away. If she runs away, oh, but she doesn't have a guardian. And what's hilarious is some scholars just outright said, no, it's an obligation, she must still go. It's shocking that they actually problematized this. They actually saw this as a problem, like, And Kamaluddin ibn al-Humam, the famous Hanafi, his get-out clause was that, well, she must still run away because it is a problem, but we don't call this a journey. Because in Arabic, this won't be called a journey. This will be called an escape. Oh, God. Honestly, I love I love how hard why not just say, look, get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of here. Any chance you get, run. Why not just say something like, are you crazy even trying to contemplate these issues? Just run, run, run. Have you heard of Forrest Gump? Just do a Forrest Gump. That's the... Forget about trying to justify and the fact that, oh, well, that's because it would apply, but this is called an escape. It's not called a journey. I mean, for God's sake, do you live in the real world? So sometimes, you see, when people say, oh, but scholars in the past didn't pick up on this issue, you've got to understand that they didn't always think the way we think. We are thinking within our own environment. They were thinking within their own environment. And one could ask, why was a great scholar like Ibn al-Humam really trying to justify this so much? Because the luck and the control that the Hanafi madhab had was a notorious one. Right? So this is why, and this is why Ibn al-Humam is one of those scholars who actually does disagree with the Hanafi madhab on a few issues and faces a hell of a lot of slack for it. That they actually kind of, they've almost dissed him to an opinion that they don't like taking his opinions anymore within the Hanafi madhab. And his own student was somebody that disowned him. So you can see what they were suffering from. So, right, so that's coming to this issue. And I'd like to highlight here that, you know, Imam Abu Hanifa was actually trying to create ease for the woman. In his time, most of the ulama were going with the understanding that a woman couldn't travel on any journey. So he said he took the longest journey, which was 3 whole days and nights. So if a woman was to go off on her own for 3 whole days, he said that that's the one we're going to take. And in any short journey, she can travel unaccompanied. Imam Abu Hanifa was actually trying to make life easy for the women around him. What his madhab eventually started to do was a whole different story. Okay, they then converted this into miles. They then, like Ibn Abidin, who really just puts this, Ibn Abidin, you know, is a great scholar, but what he did to the Hanafi madhab, and I suppose he wasn't the first person, but he kind of seals it. He turns it into something else, honestly. He kind of officially turns it. Other people before him had already kind of set up this rigid approach, and he just kind of locks it into place. He says that we're going to not go with Abu Hanifa's thing. We're going to go with this 1 day and 1 night, and then he also reinforces that this should be converted into miles, which makes 48 miles. And a woman is incapable, like she is Islamically incapable of traveling 48 miles. And then the shocking thing is, okay, forget the fact that Ibn Abidin said that. People here in the West, in the UK, are teaching this now. Can you believe this? So, and what's worse is that the UK media has picked up on it. So the UK media, the Independent had an article, and the Daily Mail picked up an article in 2016 saying that the Blackburn Muslim Association, whatever that is, but some association, are advising all their Islamic kind of adherents that it is impermissible for a woman to travel 48 miles, and if she does, she is deserving of the hellfire. Okay, and this is absurd. So you will get women that they allowed to travel 47 miles. They're allowed to travel 47.9. Oh, but that final step, you nutty, you choose that final step. This one haram, this step, this. Just one small step, one giant leap into Jahannam. So that, you know, that final step that's going to make it at 48 miles, that's one small step for a woman, one giant leap into Jahannam. This is absurd. This is ridiculous. This one is making mockery of the religion, you know. This is a mockery of the deen, okay? So we're making a mockery, people. Right, so now I'm going to come back to taking a look at these issues. Right, so these issues, people, and let me give you another example. And like the Hanafis, the Salafis, especially the Saudi Salafis, Toba, Toba, Toba. The Saudi Salafis वो तो, you know, these Hanafis, इनके भी बाप निकले. They're like a layer above them all. They're like, whoa. They're like, you think that's controlling? We'll show you controlling. So look, check this out. The Fatawa, the board of Fatwa in Saudi Arabia, Fatawa Lajna Ad-Da'ima, was asked, can a woman travel without a mahram? They said, يحرم على المرأة السفر. يحرم على المرأة السفر. It's haram for her to have a journey بدون محرم مطلقا, categorically, سواء قصرت المسافة أم طالت, even if it's a long journey or a short journey. Haram, haram. I gotta act like one of those, you know, those with the really. So, and then Sheikh bin Baz, you've all heard of Sheikh bin Baz. Bin Baz is a bit of a slick name, though, you gotta say. It's got that Bin Baz. It's got that kind of ring to it, though. It sounds like kind of like super hip, almost. Like, I don't know, like you're kind of thinking Bin Baz. People say Bin Baz is gonna come. Whoa. Probably picturing like a super Bin Baz. Alright. Bin Baz. But Sheikh Bin Baz, who's passed away, may Allah have mercy on him and elevate him in Jannah as elevate every Muslim. And may Allah have mercy on all of His creation, on the whole of humanity. Ameen. Right, so Sheikh bin Baz was asked by a Saudi, I mean, she wasn't poor as in financially poor, but an unfortunate teacher, Saudi woman, female teacher, who said that to go, sometimes whilst we're teaching, we have to go from Dammam, the city, Dammam in Saudi Arabia. We have to go by bus to some neighboring kind of, some vicinities, some localities where we will be having either a session or delivering something, and we'll go by the school bus, as in the staff bus. We're going to take the bus. Can we go? He said, La! He said, La! No! It is haram! Because it goes against the hadith of the Prophet. So it's interesting that, look, that this whole understanding, and I don't think, somebody said Uthaymeen, I don't think Uthaymeen allowed women traveling generally either without a guardian. I don't think he did. But that some ulama have, and I'll come to that in a moment now. See, let's take a look at all of this. What's really going on? You see, these hadith I've quoted, people, these hadith were the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not trying to set boundaries to confine women at all. And anybody who thinks that has a poor opinion of the best of creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was trying to safeguard. Now, during his lifetime, Medina and the Muslim settlement was attacked and was undergoing huge hostilities. Neighboring tribes, at time you had Ghatfan and these other tribes and all these people. You had the Ahzab, the coalition against the Prophet. You had so many people targeting the Muslim communities, laying kind of siege or opportunists. You had an understanding that the kuffar of Quraysh said to the Prophet after at Hudaybiyah that any men, that if a man, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ رَجُلٌ, if a man comes to you who believes, you will have to return him to us. And the Prophet agreed because the Muslims needed they needed to compromise for this safety, for kind of a peace settlement. Now, at the time when the women came, the Prophet said, we agreed to men, but we didn't say woman. So we're not going to send these women back. This infuriated the kuffar of Quraysh and other tribes as well. People were just dying for an opportunity to get the Muslims back. Now, as the time progressed, the Muslims kind of had treaties, peace treaties with varying tribes. Okay. Now, some of these, so for example, sometimes there were neighboring tribes. There was, let's say, Khaybar with the Jewish kind of settlement. Then that gets settled. Muslims kind of take over. They establish this. Okay, that's not a threat anymore. Then you've got the coalition. Okay, the coalition breaks away. Some other tribes come in. They become friendly now. And these ones, then, well, they think, well, And towards the end of the Prophet's life, the whole of Arabia had pretty much come under an agreement with the Prophet. And most of Arabia had come under Islam. So you see that based on the dangers, the vicinity was varying. Hence the Prophet was saying, oh, she shouldn't travel one day, because right now the tribe, a whole day would get a woman this far. Beyond that is a danger zone. Then the peace treaties expand. Oh, who travels 2 days is okay. But beyond that, there's a danger zone. Oh, now it's expanded even further. 3 days. Oh, then it expands a bit more. 3 days and more. This was the Prophet trying to safeguard the women. Because, yes, men were targets too, but women were greater and seen as softer targets by these people. Okay, so this was why the Prophet ﷺ had said it. And how can we prove this? Well, let's go to another hadith. Right now, I want to take you to a hadith which is also in Bukhari. Now, this hadith, in which the Prophet is addressing a companion by the name of Adi ibn Hatim. Okay, Adi ibn Hatim is speaking to the Prophet, and the Prophet says to him, he says to him, Ya Adi, do you know where al-Hira is? Al-Hira is a place, a location. It's actually located in Iraq. It's very far from the Arabian Peninsula, especially in that day and age. And he says, you know, I've heard of it, this place called al-Hira. The Prophet says to him, Ya Adi, that in talat bika hayat, that if life stretches for you, that if you live a long life, you will see, latarayanna, you will certainly see, al-dha'ina, a woman traveler, female traveler, setting off from al-Hira, coming to Mecca, وَتَطُوفُ الْبَيْتَ, and she will do tawaf on her own, لَا تَخْشَى وَلَا تَخَافُ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. She will fear none except Allah. And in another riwayah, it says, لَتُوشِكَنَّ الذَّعِينَ, that the Prophet said to him that the female traveler, أَن تَخْرُجْ بِغَيْرِ جَوَارٍ, without anybody to neighbor her, on her own she will come, and she will come to Mecca, and she will do tawaf, not fearing anybody but Allah. And Adi ibn Hatim says that I thought when the Prophet said this, I was thinking to myself, but where is that happening from all the massacre, bloodshed and rioting that these people, the looting that these tribes are doing? How could she come past all of this? See, even he is thinking of the danger. Yet he says, Wallahi, in my old age I saw the Dha'ina, a woman coming from that place to Mecca on her own, not fearing nobody except Allah. That much stability had come about in the region during that time, and the prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had manifested. And these are the amazing kind of hadith that we see that people have turned a blind eye to. And this is why certain scholars, they have been like Abdul Muhsin al-Ubaykan, who is a Salafi kind of Saudi scholar, who said that, are people crazy that are saying a woman can't travel on her own? Right? Where are they from this hadith? And people like Sheikh Ahmed Qasim al-Ghamidi, not Javed, even Javed Ghamidi as well, but Sheikh Ahmed Qasim al-Ghamidi from Saudi Arabia, and even Sheikh Dawood has a fatwa on a woman traveling by aeroplane and things like this. And this ruling has existed in the madhabs, and I'd like to quote to you from this is a commentary on the Muwatta of Imam Malik by the legend from Muslim Spain, Abu Walid al-Baji, who's almost from 1,000 years ago. He passes away in 494 Hijri. Now, there is a hadith that where this comes speaking about the Hajjul Mar'a, and that a woman needs a guardian if she's going to go on Hajj. Okay, now check this out. Abu Walid al-Baji, he says, okay, the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, لا يحل لامرأة تؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر أن تسافر مسيرة يوم والليلة إلا مع ذو محرم منها, that this hadith of Abu Sa'id, that a woman cannot go a day or night's journey without a mahram. He says, this is not an obligatory journey, this is generally and blah blah blah. He gives this example, and then he says, وقال الإمام أبو الوليد, and this is a style, by the way, of the legacy of our scholars, especially the Malikis and other people. They often used kunyas. Okay, Abu al-Walid, they always usually went with their kunyas. Ibn Abdul Barr always goes with Abu Umar, and hence you have Abu Layth in front of you people. He says, وَوَجْهُ ذَلِكَ عِنْدِي. Right, so he's speaking about who you should go with and so on. Mas'ala. وَلَعَلَّ هَذَا الَّذِي ذَكَرَ بَعْضُ أَصْحَابِنَا. He says, this which some of our ulama said that, oh, a woman must go accompanied and stuff like this. إِنَّمَا هُوَ في حال إنما هو sorry, the mas'ala, not that about a woman must go on her own, that he says this which some of our ulama have mentioned, that traveling with, if you're accompanied by the certain relatives that you didn't get on with, for example, he speaks about. Like they give the example of Raba'ib. He says, إِنَّمَا هُوَ فِي حَالِ الْإِنْفِرَادِ وَالْعَدَدِ الْيَسِيرِ. This is when we're speaking about a very small number of people traveling, or if the woman is traveling on her own. Now listen to this. فَأَمَّا الْقَوَافِلُ الْعَظِيمَةِ, and this is almost 1,000 years ago. It says, as to large caravans, وَالطُّرُقُ الْمُشْتَرَكَةَ الْعَامِرَةِ الْمَأْمُونَةِ, and as to great highways, where many people go on these highways, and they are safe. He says, فَإِنَّهَا عِنْدِي مِثْلُ الْبِلَادِ الَّتِي يَكُونُ فِيهَا الْأَسْوَاقِ وَالتُّجَّارِ. These to me are like marketplaces, where everybody is mixed. فَإِنَّ الْأَمَنْ يَحْصُلُ لَهَا دُونَ ذِي مَحْرَمٍ وَلَا امْرَأَةٍ. A woman is safe there without any guardian or without any female companion. A woman can go to the marketplaces. And he says, and this is what Imam Awza'i had also taught. And that is from his, and what is great as well, you see the legend Imam Malik, when he transmits this hadith in his Muwatta, in his Jami', where he's speaking about a woman traveling with a Dhu Mahram, he brings 3 ahadith in that bab, and he begins it by the hadith that the Prophet said 2 men traveling are shaitans. Are they, like one is a shaitan, 2 are 2 shaitans, but 3 are companions. Why was the Prophet, and then Imam Malik brings the hadith, let not a woman travel except with a mahram. Now you tell me, Why is the Prophet calling two people traveling devils? This was religious rhetoric that was used in the day and age to safeguard them, because there was hostile territory. Okay, so this is to kind of bring to our understanding, people, that that women can travel. Of course they can travel. And I was reading a fatwa by some Salafis. They said, oh, some people say that, look, they said that Sheikh Mustafa Zarqa from Sham in the past had given the fatwa, a woman can travel by aeroplane, it's absolutely fine, and she can be received on the other end. And people like Sheikh Dawood had said that as well. And so somebody said, no. I was reading the criticism, and they said, because really the safety that these people are saying is in airports, is it really there? And if the woman gets in danger, like she's attacked, really she needs the husband who can truly take care of this, unlike the security staff at an airport. I mean, really? The husband's probably thinking, bloody hell. What? Okay. I've got to take on everybody. I mean, there's security here, for God's sake. There's trained security guards. But I've got to be the sole warrior. I mean, this is the kind of thinking that these people are carrying. That no, if a woman was to come under attack, unlike the security at an airport, the true safety can only be undertaken by the husband, who must... It is I am here. Step back. Get real, for God's sake. What is wrong with people? Wow. So this is, so yes, it is absolutely fine for a woman to travel on her own. And the key thing was all about safety, okay? And please stop circulating these rulings about 48 miles. It is really making a mockery out of the deen. And people need to really open up. And then they ask me, why do I think some of these scholars in the UK, are building caves, not communities, to quote Imam Suhaib Webb, that, look, because why they're doing that is because, look, you can't, this is bizarre that you're asking women that they can travel 47 miles and not 48. It's absurd, right? So please, people like Abu Walid al-Baji were ahead of you, and they were 1,000 years ago. So live, love, laugh, and learn, people. Right, so that's some of the interesting things.